The Nigeria Labour Congress has issued a stern warning to the National Assembly, threatening a month-long nationwide strike if plans to deregulate the national minimum wage are approved. NLC President Joe Ajaero made this announcement in Lagos, saying the move would grant state governors the power to determine wages, effectively abolishing the minimum wage. Ajaero emphasized that organized labor will not accept a situation that forces workers into poverty. He stressed the importance of equal pay for equal work, regardless of location, citing the constitutional provision for equal pay for equal work. The NLC is urging the National Assembly to reject the proposal and ensure fair wages for all workers. The threat comes as negotiations for a new national minimum wage continue. And to unpack this, I am joined by a public affairs analyst, Dotun Ojon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. For the benefit of those who may not know, perhaps you should start by describing what the regulated minimum wage is.
I think that will be entirely new in a democratic dictionary in Nigeria, but it's actually to explain the power that should be given to state governors to actually negotiate what they would be able to pay their employees at the end of the day. And that will be a very big blow on the constitutional provision that a national minimum wage should be negotiated, I think, within every 4 years. So I want to quickly delve into the fact that when Nigerians talk about development and they put all their attentions on the federal government, sometimes I get alarmed because one unit of government that has the capacity to actually develop the nation faster than any other is the state. Unfortunately, the state government have shown over the years that most often some of the governors are really not concerned about development of their people. And now if you now give them, and I'm now currently expressing the fear of labor, that if you now give them the power to decide how much they will pay, that may be too huge a responsibility that will be given to them. So it's been a major fear. And you will see that even at the Federal Economic Council meeting that was held, the idea is to have minimum wage as number one item on their discussion. But that also did not happen because they tactically said that the federal government needed to engage with all stakeholders, particularly the state governors. So
if I may come
when
in there,
this happens, the labor is a bit not comfortable.
Mr. Ojon, I mean, how do you perceive the warning of NLC to the National Assembly on the regulation of the minimum wage? They are saying a strike of 1 month, would happen if they refuse to listen, if National Assembly refuse to listen to labor. What are your thoughts on that?
From time immemorial, one tool in the hand of labor has been strike. And I think that the language that government after government seem to understand.
Is it effective?
It's one thing.
Would you consider the strike action by labor effective so far?
Of course, it has been, because if, give or take, no matter how you look at it, I think the only way that, the only thing that forces the government to listen to labor has been strike. And if you, either you agree with that or not, it's been relatively successful. But this is the point I am trying to make. If labor does not come out now to say, oh, we are going to do this, there's all possibility that government will just go ahead with what it is that it has planned. Nobody prays for a 1 month strike. As we speak now, let me paint the picture to you. If labor goes on strike for 1 month, it means that our economy will finally crumble, which is what nobody actually prays for. Each time labor goes on strike, about 50 billion naira is lost to the strike. So I know that nobody, including labor itself, will want to risk having a nation without an economy. But again, it's also very necessary for them to come out to say that if the federal government goes ahead or the state government go ahead with the agreement that they will negotiate with their workforce on what to pay or what to earn at the end of the day, that it's not going to be something palatable, because the state government have always come up with this idea of the fact that, oh, we spend so amount or so percentage of our income on recurrent expenditure. But when you dig deeper, you discover that even for the project budgetary provision they have for capital project, they don't get to do it at the end of the day. And we can continue to give examples here and there of what is the budget performance of state. Now,
let me ask you, Mr. Ojon, permit me to, to come in there. Let me ask what your perspective of the federal government is. We're still waiting for the new minimum wage to be announced, and we've seen a number of interventions by the federal government. Recall last week, we saw in the news where the federal government is to send 20 trucks of rice to each state. We have seen also interventions in form of compressed natural gases as substitutes to fuel. With these interventions the federal government is bringing on, but yet to announce the new minimum wage, what does it tell you?
It tells me that maybe we are totally not sincere, because the idea of the delay, according to what the federal government said, is to actually have consultation. But again, that is my fear. These people we are consulting with, are we talking about the state governors at the end of the day? As we speak now, there's been close to 20 to 50% increase on allocation that comes to each state from the federal, from Abuja. Now, the idea is that state government will continue to say, oh, there's no money. Oh, people must be able to tighten their belt. But what we are saying in essence is that the people in authority must lead by example. You cannot continue to lead a life of affluence and opulence and tell your people to continue to tighten their belt. And I think this is a major disconnect between what labor is asking for and the reality of our economy. Ideally, nobody should be asking for more money at this point in time, because we have come to realize that more money has got no capacity to turn things around. What we should be asking for is a friendly economy. We can't be talking about exchange rate of 1,500 to $1, and you'll be still seeking for more money. That means that even when you get the more money, the reality of the economy will swallow it. But when people in authority continue to lead a life of opulence and affluence, then people that are coming behind them will not have any justification to want to remain in poverty. So I think the essence of waiting is for the state government. And with due respect, I think the major issues that we have, the major problem we have, the major underdevelopment we have, the major lies we have in government actually emanate from the state government. And I'm going to cite the example of this rice that you talked about now. Do you know that until the federal government came up to say, oh, we were the one that gave right, some state governments have actually begun to distribute this right without any information that it actually came from the federal government. Unfortunately, so
what is your proof? I mean, when you lay such claims, do you have any facts?
But a lot of people still did not get access to
I was going to ask you what proof you have if you lay such claim, but we're out of time. Thank you so much for your time on the news.
The state you are broadcasting from, for example, had begun to share rice about 4 days ago, before the federal government actually came out to say they were the one that gave the rice.
And that's a fine place to wrap up. Thank you so much for your insight on the news. Dotun Ojon, political analyst. Many thanks indeed for your insight.